It's the Critical Conversations podcast where we talk about race, politics, and hip hop. And this is episode 2. We got something real special for y'all. It's two MCs that are in the North Carolinas right now, Ashbel and my man Eternal, the MC, really on the front lines of merging hip hop with social change in this moment, as hip hop was, has always done. So this is Critical Conversations, Volume 1, Episode 2. Check it out. This is the Critical Conversations podcast where we talk about race, politics, and hip hop. And we're going to be talking with a couple of MCs this evening that I'm super excited to engage with. We got my man Eternal MC, and we got my man Ashbel, King on his own podcast set up at the crib, man. He got the setup that I wish I was on. But we're going to have these brothers talk. They need no introduction. I mean, their bars speak for themselves. I haven't plugged their social media and whatnot so you can follow them. But to address what we were talking about earlier and keep the conversation in flow, we were really just talking about, was COVID, when things have been so potent in this moment right now where we're dealing with race and in a way that maybe we haven't before in this country because of the murders of more Black men, would it have been that way if not for COVID? And I know you were talking about that earlier, Jay, so can you kind of speak to that, what you were saying earlier?
So what I feel like is, and I may be hitting some spiritual points, that may not even be relevant, but I feel like the COVID was really a opportunity for us to get right internally before we go into this external revolution. I feel like it was it was an opportunity for you to sort of pick a side before you even knew sides were needed to be picked within yourself, of getting these demons that we face out so you can be an effective soldier in whatever, because you got to be somewhat clear-minded to be an effective team player, so that way you ain't bringing your personals with you. And so for me anyway, I feel like I mean, I don't know where this is going to go. And I was just talking to a lady friend of mine saying, this right here is an opportunity unlike any other opportunity that I've had so far in my life to make a difference, to make a change. And this right here is one of those things for me where I hope to look on years down the road and say, you know what? Yeah, this right here was the catalyst for this. And I was a part of that. For like the people that was a part of the Boston Tea Party or whatever years down the line, they'd be like, yeah, I was a part of I was a part of World War III, things that we hear about. And it's like, oh, snap, they only got video games that show that stuff now, but you were actually a part of it. You know what I'm saying? You are a part of that history. So this is also a great opportunity for us to start to really hone in on who is in our circle. And it's like, so certain things within time, like, Donald Sterling said something in the NBA, and this is what's going on, and certain other individuals that have said things and done things, they're racist. But now it's to a point now where I'm really looking at who is in my circle of people that aren't saying or doing anything at all during this time, because I feel like that's it's very important to take note of, because even if you're not out protesting and throwing shit, just like you doing a podcast or whatever, I think we all have something to contribute to this particular, because we all are part of the culture. And I don't just think it's Black folk that have that like the culture and don't necessarily rock with the people. I think it's some of us as well. Some of us rock with the culture more than we rock with the people. And now we're getting an opportunity to really see who are those individuals. And so, but anyway.
Eternal, can I bounce to you? You were just saying earlier that you were at the protests in Durham earlier today, and I know like you're steeped in the culture. You know what I mean? Like you're for the movement and the revolution of hip hop. Can you talk about what you feel like your responsibility is as an artist and as a Black man to be involved in this movement, and how you feel like that reflects in the way that you move? Can you just talk about that a little bit?
I feel like as a Black man in America, you have no choice but to be a part of the movement, because you're going to be targeted whether you like it or not. Just to clarify, I was at the Raleigh protest earlier,
Oh, my bad.
and salute to those people out there. They've been at the governor's mansion every day for the past 5 days for hours, breaking curfew and just letting it be known that we're sick of the injustices out here that's been bestowed on people of color, primarily Black people, for centuries. So me as a Black man, especially through my art and just the way that I move, you know, and try to be a positive role model and be prepared for whatever's gonna happen. Because it, like right now, you could just look outside and see that it's a war going on. And at this point, if you don't see that, then you don't want to see it. That's how I feel about that.
Yeah.
So yeah, just to answer your question, me, I feel like I have to be, whether I want it to be or not, I have to be. So with that responsibility, I'm going to make sure that I'm prepared physically and mentally for this war.
Yeah. Can we talk about like, being prepared for the war and like what that means, Jay? I guess all of us can harp in on that. What it means for us to be involved. Like you said, in the point you were making, like you're looking right now for the people that are in your circle that aren't saying anything or doing anything, meaning that they're really not, they're not in for, they're not with the shits basically. Like they're talking a good game, but they're not showing up when the action actually starts. So can we unpack that a little bit? Now, everybody's not at a protest, right? Everybody's not at a rally or marching. I've had that expectation before. I've since released some of that expectation because like it caused more conflict between some of my brothers that I actually, like they with the movement, these dudes was just at their job. You know what I'm saying? Like they were like, I gotta work to feed my kid or something like that. Right. So can we just unpack that a little bit and talk about even the point that you made, Jay, with the video that you posted, which I thought was really good, that was like basically calling that out. Like if you wasn't with the movement before and you wasn't a part of the way that hip hop revolutionizes and Black culture revolutionizes America, then don't just use this moment to be kind of trendy, basically, like and show up in a new way, like be for it all the way. Can you speak to that a little bit?
So I feel strongly that Black culture, just we as a people have affected every industry, damn near every industry, even the industries you don't even think to talk about, like pornography. We as a people have affected even that to where there has to be some standard, and we have set a lot of that. I mean, from the fat asses, and I could be going off top, but just to think deeper, like think, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm saying just to deeply think about how much we have affected. So in whichever case, you know, I think it's the norm now for people to say, because I don't want to play victim. I don't want to even sound like I'm playing victim. You know, because I think some of us do that. Yeah, the white man. But I feel like for to answer the question, I feel like for the war portion, like I was telling a friend of mine, there's a lot of people that had sicknesses long before they got into this quarantine situation of COVID-19. They just had to take that mask off and put on the COVID-19 one. And that's the reason why divorce rates are going up. It was a disease of they didn't deal with certain traumas. Those things are like diseases that kill you from within. Unforgiveness, all of those things. And a lot of people had that prior to the COVID-19. And so with being prepared for the war, I feel like there's only but so much preparation you can do for certain types of warfare due to the fact that warfare is unpredictable. Just like my man E, you're a chess player. You know your game plan, but you don't necessarily know the others, and you have to be able to adapt. So that adaptability is, I feel like that right there is more important than having a set plan, because when it's going down, and the reason why I was saying my friends, looking at my friends, because I don't want to get, if it goes down for real, I don't want to have to guess, okay, are you on my side or are you not? Because at that point, it could be my life on the line. And
Can we talk? Can you talk a little bit about, like, can we hone in on what we're at war with? Because I think sometimes, so for me, like being biracial and I have a white mom, my dad is Black. Like when it comes to me being on the front lines, like I clearly stand with Black culture. Like I've clearly experienced what the majority of Black men have experienced in my upbringing and in my lived experience. But when I'm going to war with something in this age that seems more, that's defined as structural racism and white supremacy, if that's the way we choose to term it, or however you choose to make that lens. What are we going to war with? Is it clear, and how can we make sure that we're on the right side of
that? I personally feel that we're going to war with an ideology. If you're okay with systemic racism and oppression, then you're an enemy of mine. So we're going to war with ideology, and it's difficult because with the ideology, you don't know who has that ideology,
right?
But what I do know is that ideology cannot stand anymore. It's literally causing chaos in our nation to the point where this idiot in office wants to call for martial law instead of rectifying the issue. You want to throw money at the issue. You know what I'm saying? You want to lock a few people up when you know the whole issue is. And another reason why, I feel like they don't want to resolve this in the most easiest way, and that's just equality, is because that's the whole foundation that this country was built on. So I don't want to go too far off track, but we're fighting an ideology. Anybody that's silent right now is letting you know that they're an enemy of yours because, and I say us, and ally be the person that sticks, and feels that ideology that we have, that this is not only a black thing, but this is a humane thing that's just wrong.
Right.
It's wrong. No way, no matter how you cut it, and these people are getting away with murder.
Literally.
We can't stand for that no more. Literally on camera.
Literally on camera in broad daylight. And then one thing I want y'all to unpack more as well is the media's constant approach to the way these protests are going. When a man lost his life, after this is right on the heels of the Ahmaud Arbery video. Right on the heels of that is George Floyd murdered, both men murdered broad daylight.
And Breonna Taylor.
Yeah, and Breonna Taylor. So we got multiple murders, blatant evidence, and a moment where the whole country gets to look at that, and then the response to it, and then even the response, what we see is, again, put through this lens of white supremacy that is going, these black people are criminals, they're looting, they're pillaging. Like, let's take that opportunity to focus on the partial fact that we should, again, be afraid for some reason of black folks that are making some kind of statement. When what should be the response to a man getting murdered? This is not, we're not in a civil rights era anymore. We're in a different era of civil rights, but we're still fighting for it. But this generation has made it really clear. We're for peaceful protests, but we are also going to fight you if you try to fight us. Like, we're not getting on our knees and dying on our knees anymore. So can we talk a little bit about how the media is choosing to frame that, and whether or not we actually agree with that? I can't say if we do as a group, but how do we look at that? How do you guys approach that? What the media is doing?
Well, I feel like the one up that we have on our ancestors and our grandparents and even our parents is that we're able to use this internet that they can't shut down to share the truth, the real truth, and just educate our allies and people that stand with this, this humane right for black people to be treated equally in this country. We're able to share what's real, what's not. We're able to share that, okay, these are the same tactics they used in 1965 during the civil rights movement. They'll try to skew the media to make it look like we're the enemies. Forget about the whole reason that we're even marching or protesting or even rioting. At the same token, this internet, which we're using to our advantage now in this war, is that we were able to get them, these 4 cops were able to get arrested and charged in the quickest time any officer of the law has been charged for a heinous crime like that. A lot of them have been swept under the rug. A lot of them we don't even know about. A lot of them have been acquitted and still keep a job in law enforcement. So, for the people that, try to use, they're using the same old trick. I would educate my people on, okay, these are the tricks. stay steadfast. Know that they're gonna do this. Know that they're gonna do that. Just to my brother Jay's point. What up, Jay? Just to my brother Jay's point, it's a chess game.
Yeah.
You try to see as many moves ahead. Okay, we know that they're gonna paint us as the agitators. When history shows that for 400 years, you're still killing us. Period. You know? And it's like we're not gonna take that anymore. You know what I'm saying? So now things have to change, and it's not gonna stop with convictions if they get convictions of these 4 officers. It's not gonna stop there.
Right. Jay, can you speak to that a little bit? The media, your take on the media right now, and our use of social media and the internet.
Yeah, well, we know that black media is not controlled by black people, a good portion of black media. So how they portray us is not in our control. So that, for one, to me, it keeps me from taking it, but so personal. The people that do have the knowledge have the same, like Eternal said, they have the same resources that you, I, and Eternal do. So it's up to us to really want it. You have to want it. You have to want that knowledge or be introduced to it to build that curiosity. As far as the media and how they portray us, that is even IG. So you remember IG during COVID-19, they had little messages. Or I remember one in particular. They had a message pertaining to, or like talking about COVID-19. You haven't heard nothing about RIP, George Floyd, for IG. I'm not saying the people on IG, but I'm saying IG in general, Mark Zuckerberg, whoever is in that control of, those bots. I didn't hear anything. So as far as the media's portrayal of us, I feel like until we have our own media source, that's not even something that we should get upset about, because that we're not in control of that. If we did have our own media source, shit will be bomb. Shit will be dope, man. It's like it's not. I think what it is just the skill sets that we don't have as many of. We have a lot of basketball players, and not even trying to make this into. We have a lot of individual, but we don't have crazy amounts of IT that's willing to work together, like that has the black power embodiment. They're because they work in such close proximity with other races, they have became accustomed to, this is the norm. I just deal with this person. I just deal with that person. You know what I'm saying? I deal with these Indian people. These white people are my friends. Not necessarily because they're not in the streets anymore. They're not in the struggle anymore. Being in the struggle connects you in a way that I think having being out of it doesn't.
Something like, we're, again, back to the earlier point that kind of both of you were touching on. We're also finding out if you're a black person at this moment, or you're a person of color, or you identify as Latino or Latinx, like a lot of us are banded together in the struggle against white supremacy. And I think one of the things we're really finding is that some people, even in black and brown cultures, are not as willing to stand up for that, in the fight against white supremacy. And I think what I've also found too is a lot of my white brothers and sisters are becoming more conscious on a daily basis. Like a lot of these folks that are at the rallies in Buffalo, I'm in Buffalo, New York, you're in Cary, North Carolina, and Raleigh and Durham, North Carolina. Like a lot of the people who are making up these marches and are at these protests are majority white in the area that I've been in. Like, and it's both been surprising, but not really shocking to me to see that, like, the level of consciousness is also has been raised, and is raising daily based on these protests. So we talked about media being almost like, even white media right now are predominantly, controlled white media, being like a free education when they bring on these knowledgeable black people to talk about issues that have to do with protests and why folks are out in the street. Why is it so important? Obviously, a man got murdered, but it's deeper than that. It's systemic racism. It's an ideology, like you mentioned before, Eternal. So I'm seeing a raise in consciousness for the level of white people as well.
And if I could just, kind of piggyback off that. So a friend of mine is a lawyer. She's an attorney, and she told me that, this is a good opportunity for her to have just some candid conversations or critical conversations, with the homies. And, but it's some people, of all race, like some people just don't have the knowledge of what it really means to be a black person. They're not even really against us. They just don't know because of what the media shows them as what we are portrayed in hip hop and everything. But even with that, I feel like, okay, there's a sort of cold heartedness because I don't want to get to a place where I say, okay, welcome, welcome into our world, you know what I'm saying? And then I get stabbed in the back. That's my fear. So it's kind of that. I don't know how you feel. How you feel about that? Since you're biracial, Flo, how you feel about that?
Well, I mean, it's layered, right? Like there's several different layers to it. There's one part of me that really was brought up and vibes with my dad's side of the family. You know, just different. We go fishing, there's country cookouts, there's southern food, you know, and then there's a part of me that's always felt like mildly awkward and weird being the only person of color at the all-white family reunion, you know, and the responsibility sometimes that I felt to educate people. You know, if they're having a conversation with me, when I was growing up, I was 13, 14 years old. Like literally I'm at these cookouts on my mom's side of the family and my dad's side of the family, and one is all black and the other is all white. And when I go there and I talk to my cousins or I talk to my aunts, even at being a teenager, I was finding myself needing to articulate things about race at a really young age to other people that just did not have that understanding. And some of my black friends were like, yo, bro, like, I don't even care. Like, I don't even talk to these white people about this stuff. Like, and I was like, well, these people are my family. So like, I don't feel like I can just scapegoat the conversation and be like, yo, I don't want to talk anymore. Like, I feel a certain level of responsibility to help to educate. So in part, these conversations are coming out of my desire to connect with other black folks, to build authenticity, power, unity amongst us, like, and have the conversations that we already been having just together. But at the same time, it's a chance to bring white people, Indian people, other people who are seeing what's going on into the culture and conversations that we have, and go like, have like these aha moments of going like, oh, okay, that's why, because that's what that's been like for you. You know about getting pulled over by the police. That's why you're this or that, or you feel the need to educate white people or black folks based on your upbringing and experience. So that's why for me, having that experience makes me want to go and do the kind of education or be involved in the culture that I've been involved in, so we can help to kind of take it to another level. Because as I know with you brothers, like you guys do that through hip hop, you know, through your bars, you elevate people's minds. And we now have a really distinct moment where people are listening not just to protest, but they're listening to music that protests. You know what I'm saying? Like they're listening to music that raises the level of consciousness. So I see that as part of our connectedness in a way that we can facilitate change and make an impact, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's been doing it since the creation of hip hop. Even before the hip hop, you know, R&B, blues, gospel, especially, you know, even the beat of the African drum. You know, just you brought up a prime example. You being, you know, you black and white. You're biracial, so you could be at these dinner conversations on the white side of your family, and they're just oblivious. And you know why they're oblivious? Because they don't have to deal with it on the regular. It's easy if you don't have to worry about getting stopped by the police. You don't have to worry about, you know, getting paid less just because of your color of your skin. You don't have to worry about dying on the street or your kid dying on the street just because of the color of their skin. You don't have to worry about that. You don't have to see it every day. You don't have to have that as a part of your life. Every moment you step out the door of your house, it's easy to forget, right?
Mm-hmm.
And therein lies white privilege. Therein lies white privilege. Now, it's right at your doorstep. You can't walk away. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's chaos and destruction. Now you're wondering why. Because you see it every day. You can't walk away. You're not making your money. It's nothing to distract you. Because now you're like, oh, it's been like this. Me personally, I'm like, I'm at a point where I don't have time to educate you if you don't know by now. You should have knew. You know what I'm saying? You should have known. You chose not to know. It's been happening. You know? So with that being stated, if you're coming to me now, it's just me personally. If you're coming to me now, it's like, what can I do to be a better ally? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, go study American history. And that's all I'm going to tell you. And I'm going to keep activating because it's not the time to educate you on something you should have known already. You know, I got to worry about our survival like we've been worrying about.
Yeah. Can we talk about, I mean, that's a great point. Can we talk about, I mean, you said so much in there.
Oh, man, my bad, man. I'll be the,
no, that was it. I wanted to hone in on this thing about white privilege, and you know, I heard there was a social media post from what's the lady's name who's going to jail for basically forging her kids' documents to help her out to get a scholarship for college.
Oh yeah, I remember her. I don't remember her name, but I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yeah,
she's
so
an actress of some sort, right?
Yes, yeah. So she's going to be ended up doing some jail time, and her daughter is active in social media and posted something to the effect of, you know, we see what's going on with the world. Let's try to use our white privilege to make a difference. That was the gist of her post. And it just showed me, like, I felt like a part of that was her trying to make a change while still being aware as a was not a teenager. I think she's early 20s, still being aware of the privilege of her whiteness. So I was going to ask you the question before, you know, like, are most white folks even aware of their privilege? But for me, as hearing that post, it reminded me again, like, I think these people know what's going on, like, and people know that they're experiencing those benefits, and anything any of us experience a benefit in, even if it's friends with benefits. When that girl go to leave, we like, no, like, you know, he's trying to hold on. I want the benefit, you know, like, so when we talk about that benefiting white people, one, do they know? Are we sure that majority of them know? Are they conscious of it? They've been benefiting from that for generations. And two is, if you do know, then are we just clearly identifying that in a moment where, yeah, we don't need to educate you no more. You know what's going on. You shouldn't be asking how to use your white privilege. You should be learning about your own history and culture. And because of that, coming from a place where you're an advocate.
Well, for the people that's aware, I salute you. You know what I mean? Activate. You know, it starts at like we said, we're fighting an ideology. So if you know you got racist friends, put them in check. I got white friends that put their racist friends in check and lose friends, lose family members off of that, you know, because they don't want to hear the hard truth. And then we got others that's like, you know, I understand, but hey, man, I got to take care of my family. I got to take care of my kids, you know what I'm saying? Like, and those are the people that, like, they're the worst time because they know, but they still is like, you know, as long as it's not affecting me, as long as it's not on my doorstep, I ain't got to worry about it. And then you got the other ones that listen to the propaganda, listen to the Fox News, you know, the conservative media, listen to their politicians, you know, that love everything that they're idiot and author doing at the head of state, you know, love that. You got people that want chaos and destruction and anarchy, you know what I mean? So those people, you know, they'll tell you in your face that they're your enemy, you know what I mean? And I mean, with that being stated, I salute the ones that are aware and are actively standing with us to make this change, because, you know, like, on a global scale, everybody's looking at America right now. The UN is shunning us, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because, you know, the only war that touched our soil is a war between ourselves.
Yep. How every empire has fallen. Every empire up until now has fallen not because of external problems, but because of the internal problems. Race and division has been the core of the biggest internal problem that the United States has ever had. You know, it has been the core. Do you guys think, just really blatantly, do you guys think we're witnessing the end of America as we knew it?
See, who getting heavy now? I'm gonna let
Hey,
Jay speak on that
one. Come on, man. I got two of the dopest minds that get you on the microphone. I gotta ask you the questions,
man. Man. You know, it's crazy because I think up until this point we've had warnings, whether or not we've wanted to hear them or not. You know, and I've heard little, you know, for the conspiracy theorists, they loving right now. They over here with their, you know, paperwork, like I told you. You know, they're everywhere right now. You know, like and we're sitting back, you know, like man, y'all. I wish because now we wishing we would have listened more, or prepared more. Some of us, anyway. You know what I'm saying? So if I can benefit from you, then I want you around me. If I don't see a benefit of you, and I think for so many years they've seen certain benefits, and they've let us know what our benefits are. Hey, you're a great entertainer. I like your body. You're awesome. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, you're not beneficial in these areas right here. And these are the ones that those ones that we're kicked out of. We want those too. It's like, yo, hey, wait, no. Give us those other ones too, you know? Don't just put us in the NFL. Kaepernick said, screw it. I'm getting, you know what I'm saying? That's what, and he did what he did. And other things other than athletics, because there are plenty of our sisters that have their own story to tell about how they've received certain systemic racism, not just racism, but they've also had this gender war going on for a minute. You know, like not only am I black, but I'm a woman. As far as America is concerned, I don't even know if we truly got to experience America the same way. I don't even think to us it was ever really America. Like for what America's supposed to represent to everyone, the land of the free. I don't know if we've ever got to experience. Where is that for, you know? So if it is the end of whatever this is, it's just going to be our beginning to America. It's going to be the end of their America and our beginning to America.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? Wow. That's what I think.
What you got?
Yeah, I feel like, this is the end of America as we know it. I don't feel that we're going to stop once they get convicted, like I said before we officially aired. I don't feel like we're going to stop once these 4 cops get convicted with murder. If they get convicted with murder. I feel like, and I'm sorry I have to disagree with my brother Jay on what he said about racism. I feel like that, you know, racism has always been here, and that's what we're fighting against. And that, you know, even if they allow us to be in a position of power, it's smoke and mirrors because there's no equality here. You know, if you think about any sports organizations, you look at the majority of who the owners are, generational wealth. You're talking about the police force, who the commissioners and the chiefs are, who the senators are, all these positions of power. Where are we at as a people?
True.
Even when we separate and have our own, they come in and destroy it. So racism's there because in their mind, they believe that somehow, some way, they're better than us. I don't understand that because everything in genetics proves that we're superior. But that's another story. I feel like America, as we know it, is done. And we started to see that now with COVID-19. A new way of living. Everybody's in the house. You know, a lot of people working from home now. A lot of people have to adapt, be clean, you know, more clean as a person so they don't catch a virus that will take them out this world. And I just don't feel we're fed up. We're so fed up to the point where we're demonstrating the violence they demonstrated to us for centuries. And in our core as a people, we're not violent. You know what I'm saying? We're anti-violent. We only bring the violence. I won't say non-violent. I'll say anti-violent. We'll bring the violence if it comes out. If we have no other choice. Now it's to the point where you backed us into a wall. You backed us all the way into a wall and then get mad at us for the way we react. You don't get to get mad at us for the way that we react. When we act, we kneeled, we prayed, we begged for y'all to stop doing it. And y'all ain't stopped. Y'all only magnified it. Now it's like, all right, There's no other way. A lot of our people feel like there's no other way but to bring this shit to your doorstep. You know, so America, as we know it, is done. And you can see that by the 88, once we get in office, instead of trying to, resolve this, come to a peaceful resolution, he's threatening the governors to bring the National Guard to establish law and order to the civilians.
Yeah.
Never in the history of America that I can remember, maybe the 1800s, maybe, where the army has been turned on its own people.
Yeah.
Now, we don't do that here. We do that in other countries do that. Another country that he's in bed with does that, but we don't do that over here unless we're talking civil war.
It's genocide, right? It's genocide.
Nah, it ain't gonna be genocide. I don't believe that.
Wow.
I don't subscribe to that. I don't think it's gonna be genocide. I think it's gonna be a civil war though. I think it's already happening, and it's only being perpetuated by the idiot in office. Now, the only way it's gonna stop is if there's some radical change to not only these convictions, but these policies in order, these laws in order to systemically keep people of color down. You know what I mean? For one example, all the new Jim Crow laws that make you a second-class citizen based off your color of your skin. Because we're the ones being racially profiled. We're the ones being framed for murder, framed for drug charges. We've got locked up for marijuana so much now that they found a way to legalize marijuana. So now, you're profiting off of what had us in prison and giving you free labor for a minimum of 5 years. A minimum. How are you charging me, say about 3 times as much as a white person for the same drug charge, cooked in a different way? These are the things I'm talking about. These are the examples I'm talking about. Like, the whole system has to change one way or another.
Yeah, so what are we looking at in terms of that change? What facilitates that change? Because what we're seeing right now is people who are out in mass of many different colors and races and creeds who are against white supremacy and the ideology of white supremacy and systemic racism. And then Donald Trump's response, like you were mentioned earlier, has been to send the National Guard with the threat of sending the U.S. Army and troops, which I don't know if there's a precedent for. Even the Secretary of Defense said that was not needed, and it just plain wasn't a good idea. Like, it's only for use in extreme emergency circumstances, if that, so if there are any other course, he seems to be taking the one that would light even more of a fire underneath people who are not backing down. He just does not seem to get it right. This is a person who doesn't get it on many different levels. But can we just talk about
he gets it.
Well, I mean, he gets it, but there's some stuff that he has no desire to get, right? He keeps the ignorance that he desires to keep. He desires to gain, I don't know what knowledge he desires to gain, but he desires to keep a level of ignorance that will allow him not to address the killing of George Floyd and rather address the protesters and rioters, like people, or protesters as rioters. So can we just talk about what that, the power of life and death lies in the words that we speak. And there's potential for the situation that's going on now in our country to continue to what some would seem as devolve, but what we see as a evolution of sorts. And we need to go through some maybe even rougher stuff before that evolution starts to take place. What would you guys see as something that helps to get us there? Because we got policy changes, politics, legislation that we're talking about that goes really deep into the core of American society. Is there something that breaks the back of that you guys see?
So to answer what are solutions, because we can talk about the problems But eventually, for those that may tune in, they like, yo, okay, when they gonna talk about what we could do? So for those of you that's like that right now, if you're still watching, when you do see this, here's one. All right, so you're only as strong as your weakest link. So for those individuals that don't have a certain, first of all, locate the strengths within the team. Okay, your height, your speed, you a good point guard. Get over there. All my point guards, get over here. All my shooting guards over here. All my centers over here. We separate, but through that, in that togetherness, to be able to find, okay, who and what. Okay, so you attack with your art. Okay, you guys NWA, stand over there. You guys over here, you attack with your voice. Okay, so the flow speaks. You know what I'm saying? Boom, you attack with your voice. This guy over here, he's an entertainer. All right, so you can bring relief, because even though it's all serious, we do need some type of relief. We got to have some comic relief somewhere in the movie. That shit is gonna be horrible. so y'all the comic relief. Y'all get over here, y'all entertain us, stay relevant, Cat Williams. You know what I'm saying? So then we got other individuals, you know what I'm saying, separate. And then we see the brothers and sisters that want to go to war, but it's like, you know what? You're a child still. You know what I'm saying? We got to help you. Let's help him. Now we got the strengths out the way. Now let's go and help the children. You know what I'm saying? Let's go and help the not literally, but let's go and help those that have the child, like, I don't know. I just don't know. All right, so let's help them out so that way they can protect theirs, because we individually need to be, if I'm sorry as a point guard, then what do I benefit the team? You know what I'm saying? If I'm on the squad, I can pass the ball and do little things, but I need to be individually good. So I feel like what we could do are things we've already been doing, but just not at a major scale like this. So I have to be knowledgeable. So that's what I'm saying. I feel like for those that do know, let's keep connected, and then connect to connect to connect. I'm going overboard, man.
And use this time. I'll try to connect those dots and use this time. You're saying to build on your skill, to build on whatever skill you can add to the team, so that as we go into the war, that you're adding whatever value, whatever kind of value that your gift can add.
Right.
But can we, Eternal, can you break down what you feel like, as we talked about war and chess, and has a lot to do with strategy, as we're talking about dismantling and winning over this ideology of racism and white supremacy? Like, is there anything that you see that helps us to win that war, like that helps us to be progressive in that war, or break the back of that villain or that enemy, so that we can make it to the next point of the new beginning?
I feel like us as a people have to stay diligent. As I mentioned before, if they get convicted, when they get convicted, we have to continue to push policy change, because that is what strengthens racism. I mean, I'll go as far as to say, I don't want this. We never wanted this. But if you look into history, at first, when we go all the way back to the birth of civilization, we're talking about we've sustained for ourselves as melanated people by ourselves. You're talking about BC times and all the way back 20,000 years, 40,000 years. We had plumbing. We had a barter system by ourselves before the invasion and the transatlantic slave trade. So, okay. Like the brother Marcus Garvey said, let's separate. If y'all think y'all so better than us, you know what I mean? Then give us half and let's separate. Have dual citizenship within the country. How about that? So you got your side, we got our side. We're gonna drive on your side, our side, you drive on your side. If we can't get along, ain't that what they do in school? If y'all two can't get along, all right, you sit over there, you sit over there. You don't have to talk to him, you don't have to talk to him. You know what I'm saying? If it has to be like that, why does it have to come to that? But the why is over now. Now it's like, all right, we demand a change, So my solution is, if we can't get drastic policy change, if we can't get drastic equality of ownership in these corporations, if we can't get our own grocery stores and stuff like that, then yeah, Give us half and we'll dip. You know what I'm saying? And give us this right here. We'll have this and we'll be cool.
Mm.
Is there a way for us to agree as Black folks, as Black culture, I would say, because Black folks that's the Black diaspora. Those are people who have come originally from Africa, but have come through the islands, have come through Haiti, have come through Jamaica and other parts of Africa and the continent. And so when we start making those separations, how do we get to a point where we're making policy suggestions and what kind of group does that come from? Does it come from the reparations movement? Or what are some ideas? I'm not saying we all have a hard and fast answer, but where do some of those policy changes come from? Do they come from Black Lives Matter? Do they come from reparations, conversations? Combination of both? What could we identify?
Well, in my opinion, just with all of these organizations that's fighting the power, they have leadership, and we trust in that leadership to fight for our ideals. The same way we need to have that in politics. If we vote them in, we got to stay on their ass to make sure that they're fighting for our ideals as a people and promoting exactly what they said they were going to do when they got in the office if they got our vote. You notice that they come in and they say they pander to you, they say all the things you want to hear, they lock you down.
Don't do it.
That ring on you, you know what I mean? And then after they get the ring, they just do whatever they want. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's one example. You know what I mean? But, politics. They say everything got politics in it. Everything has politics in it, and politics is going to play a big role because those are laws that you have to follow, right? If there's no laws, then it's going to be anarchy. You know what I mean? So I keep pointing back to that. Because it's important in this war to break the ideologies. Because if you want to be racist in your mind, and you don't have no power to exude and implement that racism, then I don't give a fuck at that point no more. You know what I'm saying? You could be, prejudiced all you want, but racism has to have a position of power for it to be effective, for it to even exist. Right. And that's what they have. Right. So yeah, we got to break the system. The system has to break.
Which is why we're seeing videos of multiple white men, whether plain clothes or in uniform, that are at the scene involved in the death and murder of a Black man or Black person. Like you're saying, you're digging in, which is what we need to do, like into the policies that create the fact that most of these police forces are
that you feel comfortable even attempting something like that.
Right. Yeah. And you feel in broad daylight, you're in broad daylight next to a vehicle with your knee on somebody's neck, cutting off their breathing, with other folks around you watching like it's a public lynching, like it's basically a lynching in 2020.
Wow. Did you just go back to 1945, 1955, 1930?
I mean, they used to invite to the public lynchings, right? They used to say, hey, it's a public spectacle. This is a dude he's in broad daylight. We don't, even in neighborhoods that I grew up in, you go shoot somebody, it's at night. They do drive-by shootings. If you shoot somebody in broad daylight, you definitely meant to murder them. You hopped out on them, sprayed at their family, or the kids were around or something. They killed this man in broad daylight, knee on his neck, other people passing by, seeing the scene, and 3 dudes sitting there watching, going like, hey, I wonder if we're going to start breathing anytime soon. That's a public lynching.
Mm-hmm. Come on now. That's where they got the word picnic from. Pick a nigga, hang him while we feast. After that, we'll feast. They brought their children to see that. You see kids in those photos.
Yeah.
Come on, man. This ain't nothing new, but we tired.
Yeah. Even and it's crazy because there's still people dying, Black people dying even during all this. There's a brother who died recently in Nebraska, a 16-year-old who got shot by somebody in a bar, the owner of a bar. He made a racial slur and shot him recently. And so it's still people just like, you know what? Yeah, it's just.
And even in the context of the protest, right? Like you're saying, Black people that are Black and white people, I would just say, just to be fair, but folks who are getting harmed by police in the course of protesting what the police did. You know what I'm saying? Like that's deep. That's deep. So we can't address all that stuff at one time. And I appreciate you brothers' time. The one thing I do want to focus on before as we start to close is, Jay, you were bringing up, well, both of you guys are bringing up like more concrete solutions for how we can continue to impact and make more sustainable change over time, because America is changing. We're in agreement on that. It's going to look different after whatever this time that we're going through, this season that we're going through now is. So if different people are listening to this or they're watching the video and they feel a little bit powerless, maybe they've been involved in the marches or the protests, but they don't know how they can do whatever it is that they can do to be part of positive change. And I'm mostly speaking to my Black people. Like I'm not just speaking to Black people, but I am speaking to Black folks and allies in this war against systemic racism. How do they do that? How do they start to think about how they can use their skills to do that? What would you guys say about that?
So I'm gonna let E end it, because you say the best for last. So
cut that out, bro. We all brothers. Let's go.
So I think
for
the Caucasoids, those of the Caucasus Mountains, the Caucasians, I think those individuals, they need to not be so quick to jump on our side due to that. And I put an IG post about this, because you're not in representation to what we're representing. Not saying that you're not, you're not necessary, but even if you're not there, the message will get across, because we as melanated people are the representation of what is being put out in these protests every day. Mm-hmm. You guys have the opportunity. You guys have the ability to infiltrate from within. That right there hurts a lot worse, to know who you thought was an ally is actually fucking up your building. Mm-hmm. So that's what I think all Caucasians should be doing. Okay, so let them protest, because that's how far they can go. They can't get into certain places that we can get into. We are part of this system that's fucking them up. So let's go into that system and fuck the system up if they would like to. You know what I'm saying? If that's what they really want to do, that if that's for the Caucasians, that's them. For us, I feel like for us, like he said, if you don't know your history, I think that's a good place to start. If you want to think of Caesar, look at the leaders that have made dents in the system. Look at their doings. And then kind of, okay, now I have a template. So that way it's not, because my words, your words, Eternal's words may not necessarily work for somebody who is not about certain thing. Not everybody is meant to do everything. Like I that's why I say know your strengths. So that way you don't have to be a part of conversations that you're not really going to benefit from. Because not every conversation during this time is really going to benefit you. Just because George Floyd hashtag is thrown on a post don't mean if you read it, you're going to come off that post enlightened. You're not, you knew this, what I'm saying? Certain things, but there's things that you don't know. And those are things that I feel like should be, you just don't know what you don't know until you see that you don't know it. So it's like, okay, cool. For those that are constantly teaching, connect yourself with them. But for those that don't necessarily have those people in their life that's constantly giving out information or constantly trying to connect, then I feel like you need to first connect with them. For us, make sure you're connected, because at this point in time, you're going to need a team. The military, police department, from my experiences in the military, is very team and strategic, tactical. It's you don't go by yourself. Even to the bathroom, you go 3-1. So if there's one enemy, you go 3. And that's just if you know where the enemy is. But and that's how the cops operate. As soon as you pull over, hey, back up. It's a team effort. So I feel like connecting is very beneficial for us. Don't go into this shit solo thinking, oh, I'm all powerful, because they will not. That's what they want. They want that separation. So stay connected to strong people, and after that, after you have that connection with people that okay, I'm connected with the point guards, so we can do drills and shit together. Okay, now I have this consistency around building a muscle. So now as I'm building that muscle, when game day is coming, now I can benefit my team the most, because I know, okay, we've been working on the same drill. So once I chime in, once I go off the bench, I'm okay. I don't play exactly like this point guard, but we've been doing the same drills. I know these plays. I know where we're going. I have a direction. We've been fly. This is migration time. We have direction. It's because some people are so dope. Those women that are so great at marketing, you know what I'm saying? On Instagram, you are so great at having a following. That's a skill. Now you can use that skill of marketing to educate. You know what I'm saying? That's every little thing matters. So if you have a skill set of it don't have to be nothing major. Hip hop is it's not necessarily nothing. I mean, it's to us, it's natural. Like, okay, this is a gift God gave me. I like the rap and shit.
Right.
But you know, if that's you may have the skill of, okay, I know how to get people's attention. You know what I'm saying? I know how to get people to look at me. Hey, you know what I'm saying? And even that right there, okay. So we got the militant ones over here. You get, hey, you're the distractor. We need that. You know what I'm saying? We need for people to know what role they play for us. All of this is us that I'm talking about now. The white people, I done addressed y'all. Y'all just need to fuck the system up from within. I'm saying it again. Go in the system that y'all are a part of and Metal Gear Solid that shit. You know. You know?
So know yourself, kind of know your skill, know how you can be a part of something that's greater than you, and then use that skill to help the team. You know, use that skill to help the team create a victory, basically. And like, what's your take on that? If you're watching this video or listening to the podcast, like, how can a person who feels kind of powerless in this moment, how can they be a part of the solution?
And you said to speak specifically to people of color, Black people?
You can speak to whoever you want to. Yeah, you can.
Okay. Well, I'm going to talk to Black people, especially. I would just reach out. You know, it's as simple as putting it on Facebook or IG or Twitter. What are some organizations in my area that are fighting for our rights, and how can I be of assistance? You'll get plenty of answers. Yeah. Well, these people over here, they're fighting for policy change, and these people over here, they're cooking and doing grocery shopping for the elderly in the neighborhood, and these people over here, they're
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many different factions. You know, you could be useful in so many different factions. I mean, if you want to go back to, you know, the Black Panther movement, they were community based first. They was like, all right, yo, they kind of succeeded anything the government was talking about in the nation, because they was focused on training, teaching, and protecting their community. That's it, you know? So it's gonna get back to a point where we got to start there. You know, always start with community. Now, if each community takes care of their community, then you got a whole nation of communities taking care of their communities with one mind state, you know? So that's what I would say. You know, if you want to get started now, you feel like you're not being useful, you want to get active, just, and you don't know where to start, just hit up your social media effectively and be like, yo, I stay in this area. I'm looking for organizations that's making a positive change for people of color, Black people, and how can I be a part of it? Where do I need to go?
Yeah. Man, I mean, that was big. It sounds like we're all saying the same thing inside of what you just said, which is it's about unity, man. It's about unity, and it's about us collectively developing the voice. And what you just said, what both you guys are speaking to, is that not everybody does the same thing, and that's okay. And if you hone in on what your gift is or what your skill is, you can still be a part of the movement in a positive way while you do what you do. So while you guys both do that, I know I got to ask you to shout out your social media, what your handles are, so people will know those so they can follow you. And also, is there anything you're working on right now, or anything you're doing right now that you specifically want people to know or be a part of, or ways that they can help to follow you, you know, and follow and support what you're doing?
Yeah, first and foremost, I appreciate everybody that's going to tune into this, that have tuned into the conversation in the past episode. Shout out to Nate Key. Had the pleasure of meeting him numerous times. Dope artist, and many facets of the word. So shout out to you, brother, first and foremost. Secondly, you can follow me on Eternal the MC. Eternal, THE, M as in Mary, C as in Charles, everywhere. That's my handle everywhere. And you can follow my organization. I'm a co-founder of Cypher University, and we're an organization that, you know, that teaches and preaches and actively moves with community outreach and freedom of expression and the beauty of the elements of hip hop culture actualize life. So with that being stated, you can follow us there at Cypher. That's CYPHA on Twitter and our Facebook and cypher.com.
Hey,
Jay, you can say.
Hey. All right, so I'm gonna keep it brief because I'm gonna try my. This ain't about me, Nate. This is about this ain't about me. So I don't need. You know what? My handle. You know my handle ain't even it. My handle.
This ain't about me.
Yeah. I don't care about followers as much right now. I want leaders. So if you a leader, just you know what I'm saying, we rocking. And if you're not a leader and you full of yourself, you a gallon, follow me as well. It don't even matter. It just you need to be full of something right now. You know, you just can't be full of shit. So,
What's your handle though? Let the people know.
All right, man. My handle is King Ashbel. That's King underscore. If you don't know what an underscore is, that's the line that's underscoring. You know what I'm saying? That's ASHBEL King underscore Ashbel. I'm also a disciple of Cypher U. I'm still a student. You know what I'm saying? I'm a scholar. I'm not necessarily as a veteran as E, but I'm also a part of that as well. So also once again, Cypher. You can rewind the video. I'm just a music head in the community doing little things, but mainly just trying to look out for my brothers and my little man. You know, and that right there is the most important thing, is making sure that the seeds that I have not fertilized the egg yet inside of my scrotum will be taken care of. And that right there is more important to me than anything of myself. This ain't about me. This is about a legacy. So it's not, you know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and follow Nate, follow E, you following me.
All right. So we're coming to the end, have come to the end of the podcast. I just want to appreciate you brothers for being here and continuing the critical conversations that are really just so essential right now. Man, I can't emphasize that enough, and I can't show my appreciation enough. You can follow me at Flow Speaks Life. These are critical conversations. If you want to be involved in a critical conversation, you can feel free to DM me. And yeah, we're gonna close out this episode. We're gonna shut the cameras off and shut down the studio. But Jay, since you near a microphone, since we may capture very wonderful moments and we all spit bars, I gotta ask who's got a few bars that they can spit for us, or even go off the top of the head. Cypher, you know, and represent for the culture one time before we get off.
What we doing, E? How we doing it, man?
Otherwise, we're gonna keep it live, man, because this is a moment. You know what I'm saying? And you know you don't let moments pass by. One of us.
Can y'all hear it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can y'all hear it?
Yeah. Nah, I can't hear it.
You know it's gonna be lag time, man. We might as well just do acapellas because it's gonna be lag time.
Word up.
Yeah.
Let me kick it off. I said it hurts my heart when I see the polls zooming down the block. They quarantine the project. Another brother shot. He's probably sick of having his stomach in them knots. The rookie was quick to pull the trigger for a notch. On top of his badge, routine, no questions asked. He likes justice more deliberate when you black. If I could fly a kite to his soul, I say I understand. Is life worth living if a man can be a man? Provide for his fam, so he did the best he can. Survivor instant took over his mind, gun in hand. He said, fuck that, his kid's gonna eat. Turn to a statistic, chalk lines, blood on streets now. Sink your teeth into the mind of a survivor who's determined to live but got something to die for. Research and admire, then look deep inside you and realize this is you. Now what you want to do?
Hey.
Yeah, let's
we
go,
can just shut it down on that note. I think we got it.
Okay, cool. All right, so off the top, George Floyd. They said off his top. Will he lynch him again? He awfully not. As I utter words like how dare he. Milk the game. He lacks toes, no firm footing. It's rare breeds out here walking these streets, but I keep low key. That judge don't put the hammer down. He ain't Thor breed. But this is demigod. How you gonna condemn a god? See, I find it very odd. And how we getting even, the numbers don't seem prime no more. But no, we in our optimists, transforming the world through our eyes and souls. See it through us. Don't see it through you, unless you talking cipher you. Now let me disciple you. It's biblical. But you can think what you entitled to. I'm entitled to, enlightened too. But I'm a dark man. And that right there keeps you from seeing the light. But shit, my little man only sees Batman, not black man. But I realize it's more than Gotham and Joker's hunting them at night. People don't necessarily believe until you give them something. And I feel like people are deceived. So I'm a listen for them. This is the forum. I feel like I'm messing up, but that's okay. Nate, I appreciate
right on.
I got you.
Now let me end it on a high note. As I touch keys, I just want to make sure that the piano plays my notes. Melodies, please. I feel like my life is going down a spiral or spiral. It's a dragon mouth that you're dealing with. Yes, fire, flame. Now I feel like it's so insane. We do the same thing. But yes, things about to change. Let that register. Cash. Oh yes. Your budget, time has run out. Now it's your ass. I'm about to tell you how we about to. Now let me tell you a little statistical fact. If you are black, you are automatically considered. Now we're going to save that for the next.
Word up. Word up.
My mission is critical. As far as I'm concerned, whether I'm at a protest or not, the situation is pivotal. I'm living in a world where I'm trying to look at what I see on the news and not be so cynical. Matter of fact, I'm living in a world where I'm trying to figure out if I do something, I hope it's not trivial. What's my pursuit? That was for Jay. And I know he's a long way from thinking about dames and knocking boots, but some brothers only focus on the ass though. But still assed out because we in a position where you ain't playing games. This is not Hasbro. You have got to think about something that's way bigger than your cash flow. I'm trying to think about the future, but as far as I'm concerned, racism and politics keep coming back from the past, bro. This shit is crazy. It got me feeling like I'm in a time in a position where I just cannot be lazy. So working's what I got to do. And if hurdling over obstacles just didn't seem possible before, then I guess it's what I got to do. Well, then my niggas, I rock with you. It's time for us to hit these streets out and start to rock them too. This is exactly what I'm about to do. So let's go, move with it. If you in a real movement, then raise your right hand too with it. Because I'm true with it. And that's for real. So if you building and you got a brick in your hand, and that's a skill. So I know what we about to do. The same thing. As soon as we get on the same page, you about to do the same thing. You watching this video or hearing this podcast, and let the thing swing in my direction. Hit that flow speaks life. It'll offer you some protection from your own grief. Some things to go and hit these streets with. Without no leaf to roll up, homeboy, you do not need greenery. But just in case you decide to get high, I hope it's on eternal DMC. I'm going to go ahead and roll one up with him. I appreciate them rocking on this podcast with me. So nowadays, I got to let the walls sing like I got Whitney behind me because I do.
Word up.
Not just tell them as far as flowing, Jay and Eno, this is what I do. We'll see you on the next episode. That's number 3. EJ, that's Eternal the MC, and I'm Flo. Hit them up, and you can rock with me. Peace.
Hey. Peace.
Cypher.
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 Yeah. Appreciate y'all. Peace.
Word up. Peace, bro. Stay
Peace.
safe.
You too.